that there. He lets me, and it's not an action. So, oh, hey. So, we're the Retro Rangers, and we're playing a board game. Imagine that, right? But I'm going to be doing a review. Today, we're talking about Smash Up. Alright, so this is the box that I showed you at the beginning of the video, but this is not the box I'm going to be opening up and reviewing. I'm going to go ahead and show you what the inside of this box looks like. By the way, this is empty outside of the insert. But this is what the original box looks like. You've got 16 spaces in here, so you can get an expansion or two in, but it fills up pretty quick. It's also a very small box. It's very kind of flimsy. I upgraded to the big geeky box. This is a very sturdy box. I have 4 of the 5 expansions, so I needed the space. I got tired of keeping expansions in other boxes, and I also wanted to sleeve the cards because this game gets a lot of use. This is a very thick, very sturdy box, as you can hear. John can attest to that.
Very good.
The only big complaint about the big geeky box is there's no gap between the top of the box and the top of this. So when you put your inevitable rule books in there, you're going to have it's going to lift up the box just a little bit. But besides that, the big geeky box also comes with these wonderful little plastic dividers, which is great. And as you can see, I'm only missing 1 expansion, and all the cards sleeved fit very nicely in this center row, and there's still space. So I can get another couple of factions in here before I have to move everything over here, and then I've got my bases and madness cards and everything like that over here. But we're reviewing the base game, and the base game. Oh yeah, that's the repeats. Okay. So your base game is only aliens, dinosaurs, ninjas, pirates, robots, tricksters, wizards, and zombies. That sounds about right. I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any, because Bear Cavalry and Cyborgs and other things, they're all expansions. But, as you can see, everything is in this box, and you have a wide variety. 8 factions is a good 4-player game. All the factions are going to get used. But the way the game works is at the beginning of the game, you determine who picks first. And the person that picks first will find their faction. And so the player that goes first picks his faction. I'm just going to go ahead and take zombies. And then John, since he picks last, gets to pick 2 in a row.
I'm going to take aliens.
Aliens.
Not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. And Bear Cavalry.
Ooh, Bear Cavalry. So the Russians were mad that we beat them to the space race and are coming back to abduct us. Is that how that's going to work?
They're all up in Sputnik.
Alright, well I'm going to take wizards because I know wizards draw. And then what you do is you take those 2 factions that you pulled out and you mix them together. After you mix them together, you will then have one deck. And then you determine who goes first by, well, there's countless ways to determine who goes first. But the game relies on, as the different factions play out, you have different cards. You have action cards, which you play to. Some of them draw more cards, some of them let you get rid of minions, some of them move minions around, some of them let you play extra minions, and then you have minions themselves, which have a power up here in the corner, and of course, they all have an ability. Like this guy has ongoing, which means it's always on. You may play an extra action on each of your turns. So this guy lets you play 2 actions. On your turn, you get 1 action and 1 minion. So we're going to run a quick game to show you kind of how this works. So, as you can see, here's the layout of the way the game sets up. Now this is a 2-player game, so there's only going to be 3 bases. And we've already got some stuff out on the field, but this is to kind of give you an idea of what this is going to look like. So in the game, on your turn, you have your hand of cards, which, you know, I've got mostly wizard stuff. And on your turn, you get to play 1 action and 1 minion. So I would play this minion which is an enchantress, minions have power scores on the top, their faction symbol on the bottom, and then whatever they do when they enter play or whatever their ability is that can be triggered. So I would play the enchantress here at this base, which gives me a power presence of 2, although he has a power presence of 6. But I now have presence at the base. But her ability lets me draw a card. So I'd draw a card. And then I get to play one action. So I would play Mystic Studies, which lets me draw 2 cards. And that would end my turn. Well, that would be the end of my action plays. This would go to my discard pile. And after my actions are done, I would draw my cards for the end of my turn, and it would pass to John's turn. And John would get the same options that I have. So he would get to play 1 minion at a base of his choice, and that minion would give him a 1 victory point, which moves him closer to victory. And then he gets 1 action, if he's got an action in his hand. So, places this minion of power 3 or less on the bottom of its owner's deck. So my enchantress would go away and go to the bottom of my deck. And then he would draw back up to his 2 cards at the end of his turn. And that ends his round. And we continue to do this. Now, at the end of each turn, at the end of each player's turn, you check your base. The base has a breakpoint up here in the top corner, which this one will be 21. And you would check, like this base has 7. 3 from him, 4 from me. So if this base were to have 21, well, if this base instead of having a 21 had a 7, we would meet the conditions to destroy this base. But because I would have higher power than him, I would get 4 victory points. He has 3, so he'd get 3 victory points because he finished second. There's no third player or fourth player to try to get the third place. But then when the base triggers, the ability goes off. Depending upon the base, it has an ability. The runner-up may move one of his or her minions to a base that replaces this one. So as soon as this would blow, our minions would go away, except that one, because when we would replace the base, because he was the runner-up, he gets to place that minion there. You play to 15 points, and that's pretty much the flow of the game. So, Smash Up is a fantastically fun game that really is all about the table talk. If you're playing Ninja Wizards, you better be yelling Ninja Magic every time you play a card. There's infinite replayability because I can't tell you how many times I've played this game and I still haven't mixed every faction, and I almost never want to revisit factions because I want to see how all the others play. This is your main box. I would highly recommend, if you get the game, I would highly recommend getting the big geeky box because it's got all the storage. It's gonna hold every expansion from here until who knows. Yeah, you see how much space was in this box? I still had a whole empty section and another section that's just got victory cards and bases. So, and there's the main set and 4 expansions here. There's another expansion. And I've still got room in that middle for at least another faction or 2, and mine are sleeved. So if you don't sleeve them, you're going to have even more room. But as far as the game goes, it's got some hiccups. It's not really a steep learning curve. It's pretty simple. But that being said, when you run into simple games, you run into certain things there are some balance issues and some things like that. Zombies tend to be a little overpowered. Almost every game I've played, if somebody's playing zombies, they almost always are in the top. They're either the winner or they're second place, and they didn't lose by much. But that's you can table rule that out or whatever. Zombies they play really fun, and every faction plays different. So I really like the game. I like the possibilities of it. I'm curious to see where else they go with it. Like I said, I'm missing one of the expansions. I don't have Pretty, so I don't have kitties and princesses and horses, and I think fairies is the other one in that one. And part of me wants to, originally when they announced, I was like, oh, pretty, okay. But then I started thinking, it's like, but robot princesses sounds amazing. And zombie kittens. Zombie kittens.
The internet gets mad already.
So, you've played this before, so what do you think of it, John?
It is easy to pick up, without a doubt. If you get a faction that doesn't work well together, which they all can work well together. They all can work together, but some are better matches together than others.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, pirate ninjas not as well worked together as you would think it would.
Well, also keep in mind too, the number of players changes how every deck combination works.
That's exactly true.
Dinosaur robots works well in 2-player, does not work well in 4-player.
Yeah.
So, and ninja pirates would probably work better in a 3-player game because you've got more trickery going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot more players. You're not focusing on one guy. You're not trying to outpower one person.
Yeah.
That and your pirates ninjas don't have the firepower. And in the game that we played, I was playing dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs will beat the snot out of anybody in a in a 2-player game.
Yeah. And it's all balancing and how it works and the number of people. It is fun. It is really fun. And like I said, if you can get some people together and just kind of fuck around with it,
it's a game where if you're old enough to drink, definitely play it while drinking. Trust me, the table talk will be hilarious. So my final verdict is I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Definitely a thumbs up and definitely a recommendation. It's a fun game. It's a solid game. It's got, like I said, some balance issues, but for the most part, everything's straightforward. The cards are pretty simple to understand. You might run into a rules question here or there, but when in doubt, just look at how the words are phrased on the cards. Simple to pick up, simple to play. So definitely thumbs up.